everybody, and welcome back to the show. Really excited to be sitting down with Republican Congressman Roger Williams of Texas' 25th Congressional District. Sir, thank you for joining us this afternoon.
Well, good to be on your show, Brandon. Thank you.
So I want to talk about the shutdown. It is now in its 20th day. It doesn't look like right now there is an end in sight. So the thing driving the Democrats' demand right now, and what started this, is the ACA subsidies. I'm curious if you can tell me your opinion, because there seems to be two camps. There seems to be Republicans who are saying, nope, we are not going to negotiate. These were meant to be temporary subsidies that we don't want to extend. And then there's those who are saying, let's extend them maybe by a year until we can figure a way out of this mess and get the government reopened. Can you tell us where you stand in this debate?
Absolutely. We passed a clean CR, same CR as you reported on it, that the Democrats had signed under Biden 7, 8, 9 times. We passed a clean CR, and that's where I am. I'm not going to vote for Obamacare. My district doesn't want me to vote for Obamacare. This is a Chuck Schumer shutdown, and he has taken hostage Main Street America. He's taken this country hostage, and he needs to decide that we need to keep the government open and talk about it after we get the government open. But I'm not one of those that's going to give in after what I've already voted for. I mean, that wouldn't be a good thing, especially Obamacare and healthcare to illegals and all the other things that go with it. So I'm pretty animate about where I stand.
Talk to me a little bit about your work as the on the small business committee. Has the shutdown been affecting any of the small businesses in your district?
Well, it has, and of course, I chair that committee, so I'm concerned with what we see nationwide from a small business. And 75% of the workforce and payroll is generated by small businesses, Main Street America. What we're seeing now is, of course, the SBA is one of the agencies that's closed, and we got millions of dollars out there ready to be loaned to small business to get in business, stay in business, meet payroll. They're unable to do that. Before I left, we passed legislation to raise the maximum on manufacturing loans from 5 to 10 million. It would allow businesses to expand and hire more people. So Main Street is affected drastically because access to capital has been restricted by Chuck Schumer. And he has nothing to do with Main Street in Texas, for example, and of course across America. And the great thing about our entrepreneurs, our economy's good. I can tell you that I'm a small business owner myself here in Texas. I employ hundreds of people in Weatherford and Fort Worth, Texas, and business is good. And we're going to have another 2 or 3 rate cuts, which is going to just explode the economy. And we need to get the economy and the business of America back open again, so we can put people back to work. We can create more taxpayers and create more opportunity.
Outside of the shutdown, what are some of the challenges that are facing small business?
Well, the challenges have been high interest rates and inability to get an inventory. What we did in the big, beautiful bill, we made tax cuts permanent, which is great for small business. We cut regulations drastically, which is good for community banks because now they can loan money instead of having it to where it was cheaper not to make the loan than to make the loan. And then you had 100% expensing that we passed. It is huge for business, small and big. And in fact, you can buy a fixed asset now and you can write it off 100% the year you take it rather than scheduling it. And those 3 things alone have and will create an economy that we haven't seen in years. And I'm in the car business, so I'm one of the first ones to tell you if business is good or bad. I'm telling you, business is good right now, and people just want the government out of their life.
I also want to talk about, because you sit on the Financial Services Committee, correct?
Correct.
So how do you view the role of financial regulation in promoting and providing stabilization for small business?
Well, it's critical because like I said earlier, we put so many regulations on the banks, we need to do it the European way. No, we need to do it this way and this and that. The community banks that were drying up under Biden, I mean, we literally saw community banks have to merge with a little larger bank so they can stay in business. And the reduction of regulations and CFPB, Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, has been a disaster. We're cutting the budget on that. And we're creating an American economy, not a European economy. So small business gets back to letting small business be entrepreneurial, let them take risk and get reward. That's what built America. The economy is built on risk and reward. We're starting to see manufacturing plants come to America, be built in Texas, come back from overseas. Inventories are starting to grow. When you have inventories, it creates discounting, and discounting drives down inflation. So we're ready to go. We need to get Chuck Schumer out of the way.
We have election day in a few weeks. There's some races for governor in New Jersey and Virginia. I want to ask you, though, about New York City, where it does look like these self-proclaimed socialist or even communist candidate is the front runner and is probably going to win. What do you make of the future of New York City?
Well, it's history, it appears to me. I mean, New York City is used to be one of our great cities, and of course now it's gone. Liberal left took it over after Giuliani, and they drove it further left. Now you get communists and socialists running. You've got a community now that does not respect law enforcement, and it's a real problem. I'm just glad I live in Texas and don't have to mess with New York City.
Another thing we saw over the weekend was these No Kings protests across the country. And so what they would say is that they are out there protesting against the president because he essentially wants to make himself a dictator. Just give me your top line thoughts on what you saw in some of these protests.
Well, I saw small protests. I saw protests that didn't last but less than an hour. I mean, here in Texas, they tried to have them. It didn't work too good. The fact of the matter is, if there was any kind of crowds at all, I don't know, a couple thousand maybe, but just take that number and compare it to all the people that stayed at home, not protesting, decided to go to church, decided to go to a ball game, decided to picnic with their family. That's America, and that's where America stands. These were phony, made up parades, or whatever you want to call them, just the last gas effort to talk about Trump. And Trump's in the heads of all these people. The economy is good. We're stronger now. We've been many, many years militarily. Our friends begin to trust us. Our enemies fear us. We're attacking the drug dealers. We're doing everything we need to be doing, and we're trying to promote law enforcement and try to save these cities like Chicago, San Francisco, New York, Atlanta, you name them. They're horrible. And it's our job in public service, and I think from the president down, is we all take an oath to preserve America and to keep it strong, and that's where we are. So when you have a parade of kings or whatever they call it, it's a phony parade. It's not relevant. Nobody did it.
As I mentioned at the opening, you represent the 25th district there in Texas. Now that covers part of Dallas-Fort Worth metro area and then stretches out into some of the more rural counties. Given the diversity of that district, how do you make sure that you're addressing the needs of the urban constituents and the rural constituents in your district?
Well, I have a pretty simple platform. I've been up here 15 years now, and I think one of the reasons I'm up here is because I am unique and I still own a business, and business people trust me, okay? And I've always told the truth, and even if it was the right thing or the wrong thing, I've always told the truth. People know where they stand. But I've had a platform since day one of lower taxes, less government, cut spending, defend borders, listen to your generals, understand the 10th Amendment, and I've never strayed away from that. And we tell people we make votes based on the Constitution, my district, my conscience, and the Bible. And I've made over 10,000 votes according to Dallas Morning News, and I thought about that the other day, and I hadn't made not one vote yet have I made that I regret. And so people know where Roger Williams stands. I'm a Christian conservative, pro-life, Second Amendment, grassroots taxpayer, just like all of my supporters.
What surprised you the most over your 15 years in Congress?
What surprised me the most, continue to surprise me, the anger in people. You know, when you're in business like I am and you are and others, you go to work every day, regardless who the president is, or regardless who the mayor is, or whatever, because you have to meet a payroll, you have to generate a sale, and you have to be happy. And what I see from day one is the anger up here in Washington is just unbelievable. And the anger in these liberals and the hate and the disdain they have for the country is really unimaginable, that people could live in the same country as you and I do, and they see it so differently. So it's the anger up here. And the idea that we can agree to disagree, that doesn't work at all. I have people say, Roger, can't you make some friends up there or whatever? Well, I have friends on the other side, but when it comes time to vote for America, they always vote the wrong way. And I think I found in 15 years, you make two votes in Congress. So all you make is two. You make a vote to save your political future, or you can make a vote to save America's future. I'm voting to save America's future. I think it's working, and I'm behind President Trump and what he wants to do. We got two business people, him and me, and we're running the business of America.
Where do you think the anger comes from, though? I've heard a couple of theories on this. I've heard people say part of it is young people in our education system being indoctrinated. I've also heard people say it's the media, or it's a profit driven media, so they get more ratings, more clicks, more views if they divide rather than unite. But what do you think?
I think that's a good way to describe it. You take we're losing our colleges and our institutions. They've gone so far hard left. They've created tenure for the instructors, which is a disaster for our colleges. And they no longer teach the middle and let you decide if you go left or right. And so many of these colleges are going hard left. We see it all the time. President Trump's pointing these people out. And I think the media is just an anger stirrer. They want to stir anger. They want to stir hate and confusion with young people. And that's why it's important we educate young people to what America is about, freedom and liberty and opportunity. This is not a land of guarantees, but a land of opportunities. We need to teach this, and we need to teach the middle and let the people decide which way they want to go. But our legal, I mean, our educational colleges are a real issue in most cases. And I think a lot of it's because of tenure, where we've guaranteed these professors the fact that they can't be fired. So they just go out and rip it and say things that aren't true to young people.
So, speaking of tenure, President Trump during the shutdown has attempted to lay off, conduct reductions in force of some federal workers. And he's getting pushback from the courts on this, who have kind of stopped him. What do you think? Does the president, in your opinion, have the power to dismiss any executive branch employee?
Well, I think if you're not essential and you're not doing your job, you in any business, right? In any business, you stand to be reprimanded in some form or fashion. President Trump is the CEO. The government's closed right now. He's running everything because he has to. We've left him and so forth. So I think he does have that right. And I think if you're a non-essential, deemed non-essential, then what were you hired for to begin with? And some of those people I do feel for, because that's not something you want to be known as. But government's got bloat, government's got waste, government's got fraud, and we need to try to fix it. And the problem too is a lot of the folks in the federal government outlast the party that's in control. So sometimes they've become very hard to work with.
I don't know if you know how long you plan on staying in Congress, but before you retire, what is one legislative priority that if you could snap your fingers and have it automatically done before you leave Congress that you would want to see happen?
Well, that's a great question, a hard question actually. But I think what I'd like to see done is create a tax situation that's fair to everybody, so people don't have their hard-earned earnings going to the federal government to be wasted in a deficit. I'd like for us to get a balanced budget. I think that'd be the most important thing.
Last question, sir. If you were advising someone who's going to run for office in Texas, whether it's local office, state, federal, what pieces of advice would you give them?
Well, if they want to, first of all, I'd say that you're doing the right thing because we don't have enough good people running for Congress. I have so many people say, Roger, I'm with you, I'm for you, but I wouldn't do what you're doing. Well, when they tell me that, they're part of the problem because those are the best people we got. And people see what happens to all of us in elected office. They say, why would I want to do that? So I think that I would tell people you don't have to run forever, but you need to sponsor somebody. If you don't want to run, you need to get in there and give your sweat equity and your treasure, work the system, get the right people to engage. We need more young people involved in running for office. And it's a noble cause. I mean, I never served in the military, but this is a way I can give back to my country and be willing to fire back if people don't necessarily agree with you in a proper way. But it's a way to give back to your country. And I want more business people in Congress. I want people like me that have run a business and met a payroll, borrowed money, put some risk out there to get reward. That's who I want in Congress. And that's who I talk to all the time and try to get him to run. I think we'd have a great Congress if it was run with business people.
You brought up a really good point there, which is people, young people from the outside watching, myself included, probably are discouraged from wanting to run because they see the kind of partisan attacks that they're subjected to. Some of them are outright lies by one side or the other. So, but what you're saying is you would still encourage them to do it, that you believe it's
Yeah.
worth it.
Hey, if good people don't, Brandon, bad people will. And we see it all the time. My daughter's with the mailbox the other day and opened two letters of them, had blood, feces, and urine in the envelopes and said, written on there, this will be on your father's epitaph. Who the heck wants to go through that? I was one of those who was wounded in the baseball shooting that we had several years ago when Scalise was wounded so badly. Been in a train wreck. I've had a guy run at me with a weapon. I mean, is this what we want to do? But I'm willing to take all that on because I love this country and I'll lose a friend over it before I'll lose my country.
Well, that seems like a good place to end the interview, sir. So I want to thank you very much for taking some time to come on and speak with us, and I hope to have you back again in the future.
Anytime, keep after it.